All right, take one, game two. And by the way, for integrity's sake, once the cards flip, I count it, whatever's going on, even if I mess something up in the take, like when I'm trying to talk and do this video. This is, I think if you can see here, if you, since this is take two, I might as well spoil the result of last night's video. So it was Detroit winning the game. They have a 1-0 lead in the series. That's indicated here by the D underneath G1 here in the bottom, near the bottom left corner of this rink. And so yeah, they took a 1-0 lead in the series. It is the first overall Detroit Red Wings from my 1948-49 NHL full season replay. Forgive the whir and hum of the old washer there in the background, the old washing machine. But back to game one, yeah, went to double overtime. And in double overtime, and I didn't, I started talking about the result and the other things, and I didn't make a remark of the remarkable fact that Gordie Howe, who, if you see my full the season replay in the penalty box in Delphi, Gordie Howe had lots of struggles scoring goals. He put up a lot of points. He finished top 10 in scoring, but he only scored 8 or 9 goals among the 50-some points that he had. Keep in mind that in 1948 and 49, it was a 60-game regular season schedule. So like when I said last time that Detroit finished first in the league with 75 points, if you prorate or extrapolate that or whatever, that would work out to about 100-ish points regular season. So it's a pretty good regular season for Detroit. Montreal's second overall in the league with just 63 points. Anyway, it was a 6-team league then. Times were different. And so starting this one here off the hop, it's going to be Montreal number 9, Cam Reardon. He had lots of touches last game. One other thing that I should have mentioned, this is a brand new, never before used deck of cards. Is it rigged? No. But after last night's game, this Montreal Canadiens fan decided to take a brand new deck of cards out of the package to play deck of cards hockey. And it's Cam Reardon here in sequence 1 with the initial possession here for Montreal. I'm trying to remember how I had these set up last night. I think I had the markers, the pawns underneath the periods and sequences. So with the 9, it's going to be Cam Reardon feeding it through to 5, and 5 is going to be Murph Chamberlain. So it's Reardon to Chamberlain here, and with the 3, he doesn't get a good shot off. So on to the second sequence we move here in the first period of game 2. And that's going to be another visitor, actually. So another visitor here with the puck. Bob Fillion this time. He had a point in the last game, but with a 4, he's going to be unable to play it through to anyone within scoring position. So I'm going to complete the sequence by burning 2 cards. Got a question about that. So here, 8 here for the third sequence. It's Pete Horak from Detroit. He was involved in a lot of action for the Red Wings last game, but he doesn't manage to set up anybody with a chance to score here. So 2 more cards are burned off the sequence. Up to sequence 4, the midway point of the first period here. And with the red 3, it's going to Detroit once again. Jack Stewart, also fairly prominent in terms of touches, at least in the last game. The blackjack means that he doesn't get a playoff because Montreal's team defense is too strong. And also the blackjack could be an injury, but I don't play with injuries here. So again, 2 more cards burned after the blackjack. So now we head to 12.5 minutes of the first period, where it's going to be Detroit in possession again. This time it's Sid Abel with the red queen, but a red king is needed to penetrate Montreal's team defense. So 2 more cards are burned. This could turn out like last game. Now that I've said that, the teams will trade like 10 goals from here. It's going to be team player though, 2 of a diamond, so Detroit team player, and I'm just going to flip first to indicate which team player. So ace, I'm going to go with Jerry Couture. So Couture here, he needs an ace or an 8 to 10, so that ace would have been good. The card, 1 card later, I guess, in the sequence, but Couture unable to play it through. So now I burned 2 cards, and it might appear that I'm skipping 3 cards before the next flip. So we're on to sequence 7 here in the period, where it's going to be a Montreal team player this time. But the Joker, I automatically take it away from the visitor. Joker, I try to hardcore leverage the home team the advantage, because that's one thing about this game. There isn't really much else, or anything else for that matter, to sort of give an advantage to the home team over the visitor. So that was the second, just to determine the team player. Now I'm going to burn 3 cards. This is for the failed assist attempt, failure to reach a goal player, and thus logically the goal player's failed attempt. And so I'm going to head to sequence 8. That is how I play it anyway. That's how I've always played it. Jim McFadden here from Detroit. With the red 8, McFadden will be able to feed a pass through here at the tail end of 1. He gets it to 9 to Gordie Howe, who scored the game winner in double overtime in game 1. And Gordie Howe, this time he comes up a little short. So at the end of 20 minutes, it's a 0-0 game, just like it was in game 1. Back after 1, where the score is 0-0, and to start off the second period, we're going to get Detroit and Ted Lindsay here with possession right off the hop, but the Montreal team defense is going to be all over him. So 2.5 minutes gone here in the sequence. We've now advanced into the second period. So again, because Lindsay failed to make a play, I'm burning 2 cards there to complete the 1 4-card sequence. So on to the second sequence we go, where Bill Quackenbush this time with a touch for Detroit. Quackenbush was quiet in game 1, but he makes a play successfully to the Jack. The Jack is Jerry Couture. Jerry Couture scored a lot of goals for Detroit in the regular season, and but for a huge save from Bill Durnan would have a goal here, but Bill Durnan is equal to the task, so we head to the third sequence where it's going to be defenseman there, Jack Stewart, but with the 2, he's going to be unable to maneuver the puck through, so 2 more cards come off the sequence. Up to 4, Detroit's had a lot of possession, but they've yet to get a goal to show for it. So 5, this time it's George G starting off the sequence. G needs an 8 to a 10, so he is successful. G maneuvers it to Ennio Sklizizzi. Sklizizzi here, 5. Sklizizzi with the Jack, and again it's going to be Bill Durnan coming up big in the play, but it's Sid Abel here. Detroit still with possession. Montreal reeling in their own ends. Abel with the 4, but he needs a 5, so Abel unable to set up anybody there with a chance to get a goal. Perhaps Detroit's offense is a little tired. Sequence 6 of the period, so they've changed. Pete Horak is on now. He'll have a try, but again, the 2, that's basically just going to burn out. And so sequence 7 of 8 here towards the end of the period. Finally, Montreal with a touch. This time it's Ken Mosdell. Ken Mosdell also has been quiet in the series, and here is no exception. So again, this is card 2 of the sequence. He failed to set up anybody, and so this is card 3 and card 4 to complete the sequence. Up to sequence 8, the final sequence for the period. Again, Montreal with a touch. Bob Filion again this time with the 8, but he needs a 9 or a 10. So just like in game 1, through 40 minutes, this one is scoreless. Okay, so for the third period here, still scoreless after 2. And to kick things off, we're going to have number 5. That's George G again for Detroit. G this time with a 6. He's going to be unable to get anything. So again, cards 3 and 4, that will complete the sequence. And for the second sequence, it's going to be Joe Carveth here for the Canadians. Carveth, who figured in on a goal early in the third in game 1, but here also unsuccessful. So to 7.5 minutes we go here, where Detroit again with possession. Number 7, that is Marty Pavlich. Marty Pavlich with the Queen. Montreal's team defense will be able to stop that. So cards 3 and 4 of the sequence are burned. Up to number 4, and I play with 10 sequences in the third period. King Sid Abel there for Detroit. Abel with the Black Queen. So again, it's Montreal's team defense that tells the story. Anyway, it's going to be up to the 12.5 minute mark now. It's Bud Poyle. Bud Poyle with the King. And so the Red King finally, Poyle, solving Montreal's seemingly impenetrable defense. And as a result, he gets the puck on to Sid Abel this time. And Abel just needs an ace or a 2 to 10. That is a 6. And that's going to be the icebreaker here in this game about 10 minutes into the third period, because I do play with the extra sequences in the third. Montreal will have a little bit more time to try to come back, but it is 1-0 Detroit. Abel from Bud Poyle, secondary assist on that goal, going to the 7 of spades. That is Pete Horak. Horak, who's been quite active in the series. So Abel from Poyle and Horak here about 10 minutes into the third period. So with the 9, Black 9, it's going to be Montreal immediately trying to come back. Ken Reardon with the 10. So he will follow through to 6. 6 is Roger Legier from the point, actually. Legier with a 5, unable to do it. So, I feel like I fell a sequence behind. I did. I'm not trying to buy Montreal time. I have gone through 6 sequences, so this is going to be sequence 7 of 10 for the third period. And starting things off, it is 9, so it's going to be Detroit and Bill Quackenbush. Quackenbush with a 2, unable to get anything going, so we move on to sequence 8, where it's going to be Detroit once again, keeping the puck away from Montreal with that 1-0 lead. Marty Pavlich with the 7 and the 5. So again, 2 more cards burned in the sequence. Final 4 minutes here of the third period. We're 6. It's Detroit again. Max McNabb, they're just playing keep away now. And so again, McNabb. So the second card there, 3 cards, maybe why it looks like 3 cards before I get a result, is because McNabb, again, the 4, he needed either an ace or an 8 to 10 to make a play, so 4 doesn't qualify. So that's the second card of the 4 sequence, and these are cards 3 and 4 because the goal becomes irrelevant. And keep in mind, too, that this is a game that you can come up with your own way to play this. I'm just playing it at least 90-ish percent, 90 to 90% the way that it's laid out in the original rules. And again, I've got my own couple little house things that I do, like sequences 9 and 10 in the third period. But that was the second last sequence. So here, Montreal's final chance, and would you look at that? Okay, we'll play it through just for posterity or whatever, academic now. Detroit G is unable to make a play. So there you go. Montreal has already gone down 2-0 in the series. Detroit 2-0 here at the Olympia to start things off. At least for game 3, it will go back to Montreal. But why don't I keep this one within 10 minutes? But it just passed 10 minutes. There is part of me that wants to keep flipping it out and go to games 3 to 7. If it gets that far, Detroit could end this in a couple more games. But as I shuffle cards here, I think what I'll do is I'll take a break from it for the time being. And 1-0 is your final score. It's Sid Abel 1, Montreal 0 there after 60 minutes. So, Detroit taking a 2-0 lead in the series. And I guess as a quick reminder, I will end with this. I was thinking about this prior to the start of flipping out the third period, and that's that after like a 23-ish year break from playing tabletop hockey, I started playing tabletop hockey again in the summer of 2019 and the off season after the 2018-19 NHL season. And so now this is 2025. When I first started replaying tabletop hockey, I had several projects where Montreal did win the Stanley Cup or the championship, whatever it was for that project. But since starting this channel, which I believe was tail end of 2020, start of 2021, if I recall correctly. I'm pretty sure that's when it was. In fact, I think something popped up on my YouTube. Again, I've not been on it for a while, but something about your 4-year birthday, blah, 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 as a channel. I know I've been inactive for 2 of those for the last couple. But since I've started this channel, Montreal has not won a damn thing. And with Detroit having now a commanding 2-0 lead in the series, it's looking like that trend could continue. The brand new deck of cards did absolutely nothing to help Montreal here. And I guess if anything, to make it even worse, they're losing close games. It's not like they're getting blown out, they're getting edged out. So that is kind of how it transpired more often than not during the regular season. Again, 48-49, a different NHL, a different era. Things were pretty tight then. Richard didn't exactly score 50 goals this season. He did okay in my replay, a little better than in real life, but still, it was, I think 31 was actually, I think it was Johnny Pearson for Boston with 31 goals, might have been the highest, and Sid Abel got close with like 30 or something. I'd have to double check the numbers. Speaking of which, one thing that I meant to say at the start, so why not put it at the end, right? It's never too late, not a moment too soon. These teams, because again, different era, 6-team era, they play one another 12 times during the regular season. And in that series, as I have up now in Delphi, I went through the 12 games. It was back and forth for the first several. Montreal, they shut out Detroit a couple times there early in the season. But by season's end, Detroit was ahead 5 wins, 4 losses, and 3 ties of the 12 games that Detroit and Montreal played one another. So pretty close during the regular season, and 2 close games, at least on the scoreboard through the series. But a 2-0 series lead is a 2-0 series lead. Close is not the word that I would use to describe this, even at this point. So when it's a best of 7 and you've got a 2-game lead, that's pretty hard to overcome. Montreal's got to win 4 of the next 5 now. So, all right. As always, anytime, any consideration that you give to anything like this, it's never expected, but it's always appreciated. And bye for now.